Welcome, Virgos, to your Libra season reading. I hope this is going to be an amazing reading because I don't know how it cannot be. When I laid out these cards, I just get like all of this ecstatic, magical energy off of it. And I don't really throw around the term, magic lightly or, think in, magical terms very much, but there's just something here about this reading that is just fluttering with it. And again, as I've been saying to some of the other signs as I've been progressing through the different energies, it just feels like everybody so far has been stepping into energy that is really outside of their normal energy that they've been in. We're kind of evolving so quickly into higher octaves of our energy that we're becoming strangers to ourselves. It seems so unfamiliar, but the resonance is just, up so many levels. So, maybe after all here with, what we've been going through collectively, we're really starting to now get to some of the more dimensional and spiritual energetic benefits of this process of transformation. So this reading evolved out of the chakras ascension readings that I do on a daily basis. This theoretically is if all of the chakras came together as one chakra in the center of our heart space, and then this energy became like an inner sun that really radiated out into our reality, that we would be living our higher vibrational selves and being a source of energy for our reality rather than so dependent on our environment to give us what we need. And the center card does represent the heart space itself and really trying to help elevate and bring all of these energies together collectively. Now, to make it a little easier to consume, I did superimpose the astrological wheel on this so that we have a way to kind of fragment reality into parts and kind of examine different factions of it to make this, a little bit more consumable. So we will get started, and I'm just going to read because the messages are short and sweet on the back of these center cards. I'm going to read it to you, and yours is: something will be revealed in a dream or through someone you trust. The information sheds light on something that has remained hidden from you for some time. Suddenly the missing piece of the puzzle appears, and you are able to see the bigger picture. That really rings true for my personal experience with Virgos right now. I know that dreams have been a source, like a guide for them right now. So let me kind of get intuitively into this. I feel like there is a kind of rebirth process that you have been going through, and you may have been putting a lot of emphasis on self-care. I know that last month, I think that I was speaking on that you seem to have really mastered that, and the energy was coming up around here of really knowing how to care for yourself, and I think that that's been very restorative in other dimensions as well. It's helping you emotionally, it's helping you intellectually and spiritually as well. And that really does not surprise me for Virgo energy, like having that type of commitment to taking care of personal health is really, one of the masterful things that your energy can do. So it feels like you have got there, and that there's starting to be a growing in your heart space with with love that feels a little bit more like self-love. So maybe if you've been struggling with that, the emotion of self-love, it seems like this is starting to bud at this time and becoming kind of a small ember for you, and has the potential to gain strength. And because you have the other dimensions of your reality really well taken care of, this now has your attention. Like everything else seems to be kind of functioning, and it's like, okay, now I have space to focus on this aspect of my care. And I'm not quite sure why this is kind of less, like you haven't really been giving it a lot of attention. Though intuitively I feel like it's a pain point for you, that there's a resistance to self-love. And that can go real deep. I mean, that can get back to taking on things from childhood, all kinds of wounding there, or other interpersonal relationships throughout your time here, and it just seems like you've been really reluctant to give into that, of acknowledging that that you're worthy of that. And I know that intellectually you would get that. You get the understanding, the necessity to practice self-love, because you understand that that's part of self-care. But have you been really allowing for it? Have you been personally practicing it? And I think it's just really difficult for you. And I'm also getting this like guilt from it, like, and shame. So I highly encourage you, if you can go and do some inner work there. I know it's not always fun, but I really feel like you've got to break free here. You've got to, like, we're all having to pitch in and do the best that we can right now for the collective. I think that we're getting called to do that. And to do what we need for the collective, you've got to have your self-mastery totally in check. So let's move on to your first house, which is about your personal identity, how you're showing up to the world. So intuitively here I get that you could be in either of these positions. Like you could be the bearer of a lot of mystified type of knowledge that is really coming in and just feels intense. It almost feels threatening. So you could be kind of whispering that to other people that feel kind of innocent and lost and not really in tune with you, like they're ignoring you. So you may find yourself trying to like speak your truth and getting kind of loud and, you know, almost obnoxious about it to get someone's attention. But it's in a way, I mean, in knowing you, it's not like mean-spirited. It would just be because you're trying to do the right thing, and you're showing up in the energy that's going to be necessary to create the effect that you're after. Or, and I mean, both things could be happening at the same time too for you. Or you're in the position of where you're really reading something and investigating it, and, you know, there could be a book, something that you're studying, that is bringing in an intense amount of energy, and this energy feels questionable for you. Like it's holding that polarity that feels at once good and strong and transformative and righteous, but at the same time scary and vilified and not easy, you know. So that's an interesting, very interesting card to show up for you. Okay, let's look now at your second house. And this is your house of value. I see that you have spent a great deal of time securing everything that you could potentially want and ordering your reality and putting all your needs in place, gathering everything that you can need to live and survive and thrive. And you may have spent a lot of time just kind of doing this on your own, and you maybe feel guided kind of spiritually to do all this too. You may be listening as well to like messages. There's something about this that's just sort of like you're kind of just getting everything together, like gathering everything that you need, and there is maybe messengers around you that are helping guide you through this process. But it definitely feels like the preservation for life and to really, you know, have that life force energy intact. So it could just be this time of year too, you know, with the harvest season, you may be preserving things as well. And I know that some people are taking care to just make sure that they have plenty of provisions at hand for themselves, given that things can be uncertain. Okay, so I'm going to look now at your third house, which is about communication and your community. I'm getting that, again, there seems to be a lot about guidance, about direction, about where to go, about this being somewhat divinely guided. There could be messengers, very powerful beings in other realms that are urging you to go somewhere. And there could be a fair amount of like complacency about that energy that should be in tune and in touch with what's going on. Could just be like ignoring it. I mean, there's literally like a stampede coming towards energy that is of itself, you know, that it could easily communicate with, and then it's just sort of got its back turned to it and it's ignoring it. So maybe you're kind of experiencing this, and again, this is kind of familiar with this energy, this sort of something talking to something, and whether or not it's listening and tuning in or not. So maybe there's a dynamic going on there. And here too, there's this sort of sharing of messages. So you may be experiencing a great deal of that at this time, like a lot of communication with the spiritual realm. All right, Virgo, let's look here now at your home and family. Just super intuitively, like, what I get here is like, I feel like there's like almost two worlds being created, and there's one that is like, we are pulling together and we're trying to rise and be of the light, and then there's this group that's been more hidden and looking away, that is, I guess just intuitively I would say kind of perishing, but you know, just not thriving, kind of becoming, it's like the energy force, the life force is dimming in that group. And the energy feels a bit more stagnant and stuck and just not as full of vitality. And there's like such an interdependence here, such a stagnant, dense amount of like group thought, that there's really no like ability for selfhood and thriving, and yeah, it's very strange actually. So to have this come in your like home and family and ancestry position, I really feel like this is deeply, you know, like vaster than just your home and even your family. To me, this is talking more about the human family at large. That you may be really identifying with that and looking beyond your more succinct family. Again, this has pretty strong spiritual overtones to it. There's a sense of the connection that we have as a collective to the spiritual realm, and that, you know, as spiritual beings, that maybe there are even types of spiritual thought that are going to, if we adhere to different types of spiritual thought, that they will bring us into one type of group energy or another type of group energy. And you know, you may be seeing kind of divisions there and allegiances there. Okay, so let's look now at your 5th house. This is the authority, like how you're kind of showing up out in the world and how the world then is responding to you as far as respect. There seems to be a big concern about the afterlife and about death here as sort of the center of reality. And the death of the feminine energy for the most part. But on the other side of it, it's also the protection of the death of the feminine energy. I feel like there's been a threshold that we've reached, and a critical point, basically. And at this point, there's been a new level of awareness that says, no, this isn't worth sacrificing, this isn't worth getting rid of. And there seems to be this profound amount of protection coming in now for the divine feminine. And it feels like it's been a cooperative effort between some of the higher realms, the cosmic realms, to restore peace for the feminine. And it feels like there are some guides here on Earth that are acting, hopefully within our leadership amongst different tribes and nations, that are coming together and helping to restore this energy. And acknowledging the importance of it. Because without it, the world loses its heartbeat. You have to have the masculine and the feminine working together. They undulate and they create growth. Like they are the, like in a wave, the peak and the trough. You have to have both energies to make life. And I've seen this message, it can be perceived in slightly different ways, but it seems to be like emerging through a lot of these readings that like just fundamentally we're getting you know, like the core energy of reality, and coming into alignment with that and honoring that and being like, there really isn't anything beyond that. Like, that is what everything is made out of. That is the life force. If we want to have life here, we have to acknowledge and protect both of those energies. Okay, let's look now at the 6th house. This is traditionally your house, Virgo. So daily routines, health. Again, we have another dragon showing up. So I feel like you're doing very well here. I feel like you have probably progressed from doing a lot of self-care into doing more of the higher work now that involves the higher frequencies, more of the intuitive and the type of work that we do when we communicate with other dimensions. And I do feel like you're protected in doing that. Like, there is an energy there that's really motivating you, kind of setting you on fire to do that, and is leading you to do that. But within that, it's like assisting you as well. So it's not like you are blindly going through this. Like, you are being guided through it. Not that you're aware of it. And I'm getting some sort of like majesty involved with this too. Like, there may be, getting a hint of self-righteousness here. Like, you may feel sort of exalted in your belief system, or who you're connected with, or what you're identifying with in the spiritual realm to be the Most High, the rulers, the true rulers, almost like a religion or a belief system that should be in power. Okay, let me move on now to your 7th house of relationships, and we'll see what we're getting here. So this is the Libran energy, and this is also about beauty and harmony. I'm getting a little bit of what I got last month for you. Like, this house has been a difficult house for you. Last season, during your season, it was very icy and removed. And now I'm still seeing like your ability to perceive things. The way that you perceive things is making you ill almost. It's like a sick perspective. And it's counterproductive to who you really are. It like just doesn't serve you. I feel like you've done all this great healing work, and then when it comes to this zone, when it comes to interpersonal harmony and balance, something goes awry. And it just seems to be kind of a little theme throughout here too. Like, you're getting like something in how you're communicating with others. Like, there's maybe not listening. There's issues with perception and just like what's going on. This energy gets to a place that, I don't know, I just don't like it for you. It like undoes all the good that you've done for yourself. And it doesn't help you achieve self-love. So it's like you're self-inflicting pain on yourself in how you perceive your relationships. And it's a very destructive energy. So it's almost like you're going in circles chasing your tail. Like, you could care for yourself all you want, but all you're doing is running in circles, restoring yourself as you damage yourself. And that just has you like in a loop. So now to, maybe serve a higher purpose beyond that, you're just in this self-serving loop of like healing and damaging yourself, healing and damage yourself because of the way that you're seeing things. So I'd like to see you be able to free yourself from this, because there's so much beauty there in life around you. There's so much available for you that is just there. And I think it may be difficult because this could be beyond just like one-on-one relationships too. It could be part of the group thing. You may see things, it's not like we can look out into our world and just be happy with it. So it's like you're seeing reality for what it is, and it really kind of destroys you to see reality. You're not faking yourself out and just focusing on what appears great. So I think that, that it's not ill-intentioned, but there's something about how destructive this is to you that it can't possibly serve the collective in a good way, and it can't justify your life here. Like, this isn't life. This isn't a way to live. So maybe something else will come through that helps alleviate some of this that I'm picking up here. I'm looking now at where you can really kind of go deep, what's hidden, the secrets here. And I see this, the innocence of the child. You may be protecting that a lot. You may have mixed feelings in regards to your inner child. There may be a fair amount of wounding that happened here that is unresolved. So this may be why you can see the world like this, because you start here, you have sort of the warped eyes of this, your inner child that you've carried through your adulthood. And when we lose the innocence of the inner child, we entirely, we have no way to have any innocence to see the world with anymore. It's too dense. So you may want to see if you can do anything here to help heal this. Because yes, you can see with the eyes of the adult, we can see the reality. But without the eyes of the child, without the dreams and the knowing of the inner child of how to have a peaceful, innocent existence, we can't create that on earth, because it's like it's been destroyed, So without this energy being restored, we can't, rebirth our reality into something that's good and wholesome. Let's look now at your 9th house, which is really the higher energies, what's beyond you, in your comfort zone. I see that you're probably praying a lot, and you may be getting in touch with your own inner spirit and other spirits, or even getting more aligned to other spirits. And this may consume you quite a bit. Like, you may be putting a lot of effort into this practice of tuning in and trying to be guided, trying to have enlightenment, have access to these higher energies. I tell you what, like, instinctively, like, as much as you do the work here, and you've done a ton of work here, you've put so much focus here, without resolving this, because really, I mean, life is about our relationships. if we can't have good, healthy relationships, if we can't have a healthy relationship with our inner child, we can pray and, interact in these spiritual realms all we want, but what's the point of being in this realm? We may as well be an ascended master living in a different dimension, because there needs to be some sort of practical application. Yes, it can be divinely guided and inspired, and we can be attuned to that. But if we can't actually function in the real world in our relationships, then, we're so isolated, and we only have this dimension to connect to. I don't know, it just feels like there's some hurdle here that you may need to resolve. Now, looking here at your 10th house of your ability to really be exalted, really find your legacy, really give at your highest aptitude. This card's really funky. So it feels really busy, like you have a lot of larger than life like goals and things going on. It feels like you have an excessive amount of spiritual and kind of intellectual thoughts and energies that you're trying to bring into the world and weave into the world, and have as part of your reality, like recreating the physical reality through the spiritual reality, and really kind of channeling that energy in and allowing that energy. It's kind of like this energy too, to just be sort of larger than life. And again, I'm getting this dual kind of energies coming from that realm. So you may be polarizing things in the higher realms. You may see that there's two systems of thought that you have categorized, and maybe you're seeing them kind of in conflict with one another, and kind of messy and slightly interwoven. But there's something going on there that really is creating a nexus for you as far as how your day-to-day reality functions. And your day-to-day reality just feels weird, like the physical reality. It just feels sort of bizarre and odd and strange. It's a little bit like this, like it's almost like you're out of touch with reality. Out of touch with, what is reality. This card is like the most surreal card I've ever felt. It could be straight out of like a Dali era mind frame, it's very bizarre. So you may be like in that zone, and that's okay. Who doesn't love surrealist art? So you may be seeing reality like that. You may be creating reality like that, and that may be something that it is a natural propensity for you, this surrealness of life, and it just feeling really bizarre. And we actually can't deny that as reality right now for the collective. So I'm not surprised to see that, but it feels like you're kind of really consumed by this. Your natural world feeling really bizarre, and all of this dialogue and activity going on in more of the supernatural realms. So now when I'm looking here at your 11th house of really your independence and your interdependence, I am seeing that I feel like you want to put more focus here. Like you genuinely care about this, and I think you're trying to find ways to integrate yourself into the collective in a way that feels balanced, like you're not going to be harmed by interacting with people. There's a fair amount of like self-protection going on here and the ability to be yourself. But it definitely feels like this is sort of a new portal for you. And maybe if you're experiencing a lot of sort of conflict here, you may find something in this realm that creates an out for you. Like if you've been looping through energies that you just can't quite resolve on your own, this may be the way through them. So you may actually find an unexpected outcome by participating in something that is more humanitarian based, or even really resolving your ability to be yourself as you find ways to help the collective. Great energy for you. I hope that that gives you maybe a little clarity if necessary for you. Now your final card is in the position of self-transcendence. I see this really resonating with this card. I feel like, again, there's something going on here with the heart space, like there's some protection there. It doesn't feel entirely healed. But I do see that there is, as I'm seeing here, not so much mental confusion. There seems to be a nice flow of thoughts, a really good amount of energy coming through that's protecting you, that is more of the divine or higher energies that are there for you, that's protecting you in the physical realm. I think that you're starting to find a lot of peace in that connection that you have, that it does serve that purpose for you, that it makes you feel safe. That's like a huge thing for you, your personal safety. It's even getting into some of this energy right here. So yes, you may find yourself really in this energy, and I'm happy to see this for you because I feel like you're free of conflict here, though. You're free of like a warring kind of energy, or just, interpersonal conflict. So maybe you're going to have to spend a lot of time alone and just really find comfort in that, and that for right now that serves its purpose, and that, again, like relationships may just not quite be your thing right now, and that's okay. Because the peace that this gives you, and the protection that this gives you, and the self-preservation that this gives you compared to maybe trying to interact with others at this time, is far better than the self-destruction that's coming through what's going on here. So I wish you well, Virgo. All of this is, part of a process. I know for all the Virgos that I know right now, that they give so much, they try so much for others, especially those that are closest to them, and they bring such healing and insight that to see them struggle with this for themselves is really disheartening for me, because I feel like they can easily resolve this for other people. But maybe that's the major lesson here. I feel like because every sign is really having to take really bold jumps, that it's always easier to take care of other people, but to really do that for ourselves, and then learn how to be in relation to other people. I mean, it's just the biggest challenge that I think that we have. But if we can master that, and and I was looking when I was doing Leo's reading, as like they've really have resolved that as well. So if you have Leos in your life, maybe look to them as guidance, as good examples, because that is, we can't live in isolation. We can't just be in contact with the higher realms and stuff. We have to be a people of this earth And I hope for you that through this process that you will find a way in your future relationships to show up and not harm yourself in them, because I know it's not your intention. So I wish you well, Virgo. I hope that this Virgo season nurtures you, and you feel protected and blessed in it. Thank you for being here for us all and everything that you do for us all. Please take care, and feel free to join me in any of the other readings I do for everyone throughout the weeks. Okay, take care.